Here we are in part 2, and we're going to start to look at the evolution of Endgame. Endgame 3.0, so to speak. Give me a quick intro to what Endgame actually is. Like, we're talking elevator pitch, layman's terms. You meet someone and they're like, yo, what is this?
I think without giving the keywords and making it sound super cool and probably actually leaving you more confused, at the highest level, Endgame is a nutrition, training, self-management program that has been built and designed specifically for people in tech and cybersecurity.
Okay. What makes Endgame different from like any other coaching program you see?
It's the, I guess, accumulation of many, many years of information, questions, problems, struggles, data directly from the people that I work with that work in tech, cybersecurity, essentially hackers, being super specific to their needs, their stressors in life, how they function day to day, what they go through, problems that they face with other coaching programs in the past, and building it completely around their needs.
Okay. I mean, as someone who's come from the general fitness journey, it's obviously quite a different approach for you. What have you had to change in your mindset to create a program like this?
Think like a hacker.
Think like a hacker.
What would a hacker do? No, I think it's not so much a change. It's more just a refinement or like continued evolution of problem solving, but doing it in a way that makes sense to them. Because if I think about coaching, it's problem solving. You know, this person has a problem. How do we solve it? The problems that I solve now are a lot more specific, yes, to the individual, but also like collectively across what people in that industry face. So just problem solving on a different level.
Okay. Why is it beneficial to have a dedicated program just for people in this industry?
For me, there's two sides of it. The first side being having a person and people who get it, who understand. So me as the person who gets it and dealing with their problems and building out their programs and plans around them, and then having a collective group of people that work in a similar industry that have similar potential excuses, stressors, struggles, understand what the nature of their work involves, and a space to like share with people that actually get it and understand. The other side is beyond just the regular like coaching and training side, we get hyper specific on those problems. So, you know, it's a demanding, high stress, high functioning role that you have in your job that necessarily normal or regular coaching programs wouldn't take into consideration.
Okay. So we're quite a few iterations into this program. We are sitting at Endgame 3.0. I mean, technically, we're under the 4th version if we're including hacks, because that's kind of where it's come from.
I mean, there were many iterations of hacks as well.
We could be on number 75 here. But looking at Endgame 3.0, what is different about this to the previous installments of Endgame?
This time around, I wanted to make sense of what Sean, our mindset resilience coach, once said. He said that, you know, WeHackHealth is a whole human approach to health and fitness, which again sounds cool. And I think for me, maybe it's just a case of where I'm at in my life. I try to make sense of all these words. Like, what does that actually mean? So we're introducing what will be the human operating system. So like how we look at the problems that we solve with your body, the problems that we solve with your mind, the problems that we solve with your inputs and outputs. So there's a lot more structure around how those things are done and how it's managed. So we can actually go, okay, right, you have a input problem, you have an output problem, or it's a hardware problem, or it's a software problem, whatever it might be. We're also introducing the new and improved education platform that Dylan and I have been working on in the background. There's always been an education element. Originally, when Hacks was formed, it was called the mainframe, and I was over ambitious and wanted to over deliver in the videos and the content that I was doing. But as I look back, essentially it was just videos of me in a little tiny circle on the screen talking about a spreadsheet for 45 minutes. And I'm like, I don't know why people aren't watching this. People who are time poor and don't have time to do fucking anything aren't going to watch a video of me talking about a fucking spreadsheet for an hour. So we we took that right back to the drawing board, and we created a lot more videos that are much shorter, that are much better quality, that solve individual problems. So we're introducing WeHackHealth University within this as well. Okay.
I mean, from me and my perspective, I spend a lot of time filming these people, asking them questions and getting to know them. And a large part of that for me is to have them comfortable on camera talking. I need to invest time into learning about them. And it's definitely more than just going to the gym. And you can see the connections between getting your mind in order first before you step into any sort of physical activity, and the links I've seen between them, and even the conversations and how deep people go with their personal side of life was actually quite surprising, given that it's an entire industry of people that, you know, want to remain anonymous. How open they all are to talk to each other about personal problems and work problems where, you know, where they can, but how much that actually plays in their part in being successful or not in the gym. So like that whole holistic human thing is absolutely paramount in everything that's gone into developing Endgame 3.0.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, part of that is the trust in the space. Do you know what I mean? Like having a place that they can come and share their problems or their struggles because they trust the group and the environment that they're around. So like you said, it's not necessarily something that they do or can do in other areas. So having that space is definitely, again, key to, you know, what makes this different overall. And I think within the past couple of months, I realized, you know, we are so many years in this, 5 years into this, and I have data and information on people who I've just spoken to over the years that, you know, have applied, and people that I've worked with, and I have calls and questions and like all this fucking information that means I can be like, okay, right, well, here is an actual tangible list of struggles that people have that they have actually told me in their own words. How do we solve them? Mm-hmm. So this time around, it's a more, I guess, in-depth and like hyper-specific. These are the people we work with. These are the actual problems that they have, and this is how we're solving them.
What have you learned from the first 2 volumes that helped you shape this one?
The lesson for that is that I changed the check-in sheet for Endgame 1, and I wanted to make it simplified, and I think I made it too simple. Like there was elements and bits that were missing that people who've been about for a while like noticed.
Okay.
So we sat down a couple of weeks ago and we're like, okay, well, you know, what do you like about the new check-in sheet? What do you not like? And I made those edits. So there will be a new like data collection. Recently introduced what is called a recalibration call. And for me, the benefit of that is having time set aside to actually just have a one-to-one conversation with these people, because yeah, you know, we chat in the Discord every day. We are on the group calls. Most people show up. Not everybody shows up, but there's a different energy whenever you're talking to someone one-on-one, and it just gives you a time spent with that person to see what's going on. You know, have their goals changed? Are they still in line with why the fuck they started this in the first place? And what needs done to sort of map out essentially what will be 12 weeks. So we're looking at, okay, it's a 12-month program. How do we break that down into smaller sections? And what's the main focus? Like, instead of trying to tackle every single problem at once, what's the main focus for this block? The other side of it is, in the initial conversation that I have with anybody, I will ask them why they're doing it. Like, what's your why behind this? Because I feel like having a why and being attached to it makes it, I wouldn't say easier, but on those days that you begin to struggle or don't want to do the thing or insert whatever bullshit has happened and you are potentially about to make an excuse, if you're attached to the reason that you're doing it, you're more likely to execute on it. But I don't think we often remind ourselves as to why we're doing it. So actually just sitting down and going through that. We then look at, okay, between, say, the next 12 weeks, you know, what's coming up that we need to manage? Any travel, any potential shit shows, anything that we need to take into consideration in this next block. And then actually like solidifying that as the, okay, right, you know, what are your non-negotiables here for the next 12 weeks? So that if I get them to write it down, like physically with pen and paper, write it down, get it to keep it around, so that if I see things starting to like drift, I can just call them right back on it, and I can pull up, you know, they'll have access to it in their Google Drive and be like, okay, well, we had this call on this date and you said this. Number one, has something changed? Number two, why are you not doing the fucking thing that you said you were going to do? So it's just an additional touch point to give tactical moves forward, remind them why they're doing the thing, and then take any considerations that we need to have on the coaching side to make sure that the plan that we put in place for them is something that they can manage.
Okay. I feel like, yeah, it sort of removes complacency.
Yeah.
Because there's definitely a bit of people get into the routine of it and it just becomes another thing. I mean, what do they say? It takes, 90 days to make something like a pattern in your life?
I think that's just a made-up internet thing.
Is that just made
just
of
an
internet
internet
facts?
thing,
But I
yeah.
mean, like, it's got to be loosely based on something. You get this point where it becomes like just a routine that you're going through and people stop. So I think, yeah, that's kind of, I mean.
The thing that I said was like, when I asked you, if I were to ask you, like, why are you doing this? Like, beyond just, I know that going to the gym is a good thing to do. Like, really, why are you doing it? Do you know what I mean? Whether it's for you want to live longer or longevity or whatever the fucking buzzwords are, which is cool, and I'll push a little bit further. I'm like, but why is that? Like, why does that matter to you?
Yeah.
Like, what's the purpose of that? Like, why do you want to be better? Why do you want to be around and be longer? Like, or why do you want to be around for longer? And just to continue to push down, because I think the further that you can go down that rabbit hole and the more clarity you have around that thing, the deeper the connection with that why is, instead of, okay, yeah, well, I know I need to eat well and I know that I need to, go to the gym or do cardio or whatever the thing may be. But I mean, I think we can agree, like, knowledge isn't the problem. It's like being attached to it and then being able to execute on it.
Okay, the new check-in sheets, first time you see them, quite a thing to look at from the old one. What's been the feedback so far from people using it, and what have you noticed that's different?
So one of the biggest things that we changed when we shifted from Hacks to Endgame was the check-in sheet. That check-in sheet that I used for Hacks has just been like me evolving it over time for the past fucking, probably at that point, 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a bit like cumbersome, clunky. Like, it did the job, but it was a bit like hard work. And I was like, right, okay, this definitely needs an update. It took quite a bit of time to fill out the last one. And what I tried to do was simplify it whenever we moved to Endgame. So yes, okay, you open it up and you're like, holy fuck, there's a lot here, but it's quite easy to manage. But I think I oversimplified it and took out a lot of things that potentially would benefit what I do from a coaching side, but also things that they want to manage. Like, they want to understand, they're, people who track their blood pressure or whatever it might be. So we sat down a couple of weeks ago and I was like, right, number one, what do you like and what do you not like about your check-in sheet? What would you like to see more of, or how can we make this process easier? Because for me, I'll just deal with the check-in sheet on my side and I'll have it in a way that, I can navigate it. But thinking about the end user, like, what makes it easier for them? Like, how do I lower the barrier of entry for them actually fucking doing the sheet and submitting it so that I can do my job on this side? There are other bits that were added where I took elements from the recalibration call, and there's a dashboard at the front of it so that they can have a visual of okay, right, well, these are my non-negotiables that I said that I would stick to. This is the reason that I'm doing it. There's also a compliancy thing on it as well, so like they can make sure that they're above a certain compliancy whenever they're going through each week to just make sure that they stay on track. What else did I add? Just a couple of like other bits on the sort of back end of like the logbook having more availability to add notes or whatever it might be, just like bits and pieces that they wanted added in.
But a lot more data in general, like input, and also to be able to look back at.
Yeah, a lot more data, yes, and to be able to look back and actually sort of have a visual of it rather than just looking at numbers. So like it'll correlate into a graph. So if you want to see, how your weight's progressed or how your strength's progressed or how your measurements around your fucking waist has progressed, like you can see that all in one spot.
Okay, fair enough.
Check-in sheet as well. Like I feel like for anybody who's like, what the fuck's a check-in sheet? Essentially that is the place that you submit your weekly data. So what your weight is, what your measurements are, what your food intake was, your steps, your hydration, your cardio, your sessions, your sleep, your biofeedback, your resting heart rate, your heart rate variability, and then that gets reviewed on a weekly basis by the coaches. So I learned from the last two that actually there is a want for more data. I think I oversimplified it. Like I took too many things out. So putting some stuff back in, but not overcomplicating it, giving an additional layer of accountability, not just on their side, but on my side. So I can go in and if I'm looking at a specific week on your check-in, for example, I can go, okay, right, well, I mean, like not a perfect week, but not shit. But there can be weeks and weeks and weeks that I'm saying that same sort of thing. And I'm going, okay, right, well, it's still, nothing has really changed. Whereas if I can look at like a compliance rate and go, okay, right, well, you have been stuck at this one thing or this one element, steps, cardio, whatever it might be, you're only at 60%. Like, how do we fix that problem? So it's just an additional layer of accountability on both sides so that you're more accountable, as in you can see the percentage of stuff that you're doing, but also I can call you out on it sooner.
So looking at the team, I mean, it's not just you. So how's the team evolved?
Well, I mean, initially it was just me. I wore all of the hats. Then we introduced Sean, who, I mean, we're still trying to fucking work out a title for Sean. Mental resilience coach is probably the way that I can phrase it now. He is the one that will help you manage your central nervous system. So if the shit is hitting the fan, away and tools to manage that. Then we introduced Lorena, who's our movement and mobility specialist. And again, you know, to your point earlier, I am not a cybersecurity professional, but I also sit at a desk, and sort of going from somebody who worked on a gym floor for 10 to 14 hours a day to sitting at a desk for 10 to 14 hours a day, I did start to notice change in my posture and how I felt whenever I was training, and like my body would just felt different. And I was like, okay, well, if I'm, 2, 3, 4 years into this, and these people are decades into sitting at a desk, like what problems are they just accepting now, or what issues are they facing? So we brought Lorena on board, and then now we have Thomas and Jen on the coaching side. So they're managing their own clients, doing their own programming, and like a second and third set of eyes and ears for me in the Discord and in the chat. We have you as creative director and part of the team.
Yep.
Not just the camera guy.
Yeah, button pusher.
Yeah. Even down to like my mom and Mark helping out at the events, coming, cooking, and sort of delegating maybe not so much mum. She comes in as a host, but Grace coming out and helping the actual cooking and allowing me to be more present and actually at the event, and not going from, okay, right now I just coached, and now I need to make tacos for 30 people.
Yeah, which does still happen. But
yeah,
and also Jeff with pineapples, don't forget.
Yes, Jeff. If you ever need your pineapples grilled, speak to Jeff.
He's the man. So
again, people have been about for a while. They don't necessarily have specific rules, but they fall into, like Tyler, for example. If I need something done, I can just get Tyler to do it, and he now supplies and does the merch and the swag and the sticker gaff.
Yeah,
the stickers. So check out stickergaff.com. So it's like internally building as well.
Yeah,
as externally.
Yeah, and to be fair, like as well, it is a very collaborative environment in general. I kind of like that about it. I think the first couple of times I actually went in the gym, I think the first time I really had my eyes open to it was probably the Berlin trip, which we don't like to speak about too often.
About Bruno.
Yeah, we don't really like to talk about Berlin, but the Berlin trip in the gym when everyone sort of split up on their own, and I think I moved around with Tyler and Phil. Sort of film, the one entity, filming them, but then also kind of part training with them as they went. And that was when I really got an insight into how collaborative the people are, like working with each other on form and technique and issues that they've had. So they all sort of coach each other as well.
Yeah, but the coolest thing about it is as they get more and more into it, they want to be able to give back. And my assumption is that is the way that industry is. You know what I mean? They learn something and they want to share it because it's for the greater good.
Yeah.
So like a struggle that you may have, whenever you start, that somebody's dealt with a year ago or 2 years ago, they're willing to help and share on that based on the knowledge that they've gained from being a part of it, or they've just done in terms of their own research. So yeah, everybody wants to help, and everybody is willing to give back on that. And I think overall, if we think about WeHackHealth, like, that is what it's about, people sharing their journey and their experience along the way to help other people and for the greater good.
Yeah. Sometimes unsolicited as well.
Yes.
I had Andreas come over to me a couple of weeks back and just go, "You are doing, your ass is winking whenever you're doing a squat." That's because I had no idea what the fucking hell that was about. So I needed a bit more clarity. But in the end, actually very helpful information.
Yes, very helpful. Yeah. Delivery, 2 out of 10.
Could be work. Yeah. Very German, though, to be fair. So what's changed in how you coach? I think your philosophy to systems or mindset.
2 things happened at the start of this year. Number one, I recognized that last year I potentially didn't nail it in my own health and fitness journey, if you want to call it that. I went through the motions and I did the stuff, but not necessarily with any great progress because I allowed other things to take priority. I understand that I am a better person, coach, if I take care of myself. So I've put that as a huge priority this year. And I mean, it hasn't been told to me specifically, but I feel like I've been better in terms of coaching and building everything out this year for that reason. And the second thing is I took everything right back to the mission, like what the mission of WeHackHealth is and why the fuck we're doing all this in the first place. So everything that I do add, you know, the content that we make, every thought comes back to, is this in line with the mission? Or am I just doing this because I think it's a fucking cool thing? And you've seen this as well. Like, there are a lot of times that we just do cool stuff for the sake of cool stuff. But are we, you know, is it in line with the mission, and is it helpful to push that forward? So the two things that have changed are me in terms of remembering that if I'm telling people to prioritize themselves so they can be better in their life, I also need to prioritize myself so I can be better in my life for them.
Yeah.
For myself and for them. And the second thing is, you know, taking everything right back to the mission of WeHackHealth, which is to set the standard of health in tech and cybersecurity.
I mean, that's probably been the most visually understandable through the events. If you looked at like a couple of the events got a bit out of hand.
Yes.
In like everyone got too relaxed, and it was more of like a holiday.
Yeah.
And then the last couple have been way more focused. And I think you leading from the top and doing that.
But I think even, to touch on the event side, like the difficult thing is the level of relationship that you build with these people and the depth that you get to know and understand them, just from a coaching side, but also at the events. Like, even you, since the first event, like how many times you have seen certain people, like there's probably not that many other people in your life that you have been to these ridiculous places with, spent that amount of time with, in close proximity, as in staying in the same place. So like, you build a relationship up with these people, and it can allow complacency, and like, you know, you just are there for the fun, and like, and I am yes, absolutely for that, and I want that. But at the same time, like, what are we actually here for? Like, we're here because we want to be better, challenge ourselves, push ourselves, whatever it might be. So again, taking it right back to the mission, whenever we looked at what the Belfast event, what I wanted from the Belfast event was like, I want them to go away and be like, yeah, I had a lot of fun, but I fucking challenged myself and I worked hard. So it just all feeds itself.
You said Endgame isn't just about fat loss or muscle gain. So what is it really about now?
I mean, if I have to phrase it this is what it's about not accepting things for what they are, not just being okay with just being okay. It's about setting and resetting standards for yourself and the people around you. It's about, like, as cliche as this sounds, but people say it to me all the time whenever I'm asked them, like, you know, why are you doing this? It's about becoming the best version of yourself. And I mean, I need a better phrase for that because I fucking hate saying it, but like, that's essentially what it is. It's like, how can I be better in everything that I do, and not just like stronger or leaner or look better or feel better? How can I have more energy throughout the day? How can I focus better at work? Like, how can I sleep better? How can I recover better? How can I think better? Like, it's how can I be better at everything? Full stop.
End. Okay, fair. Identity, belonging, and control are the anchor points we're working with. Why these three words?
I think the identity ties into being the best version of yourself. Like, you need to rebuild who you are. So it's not just about losing weight. It's about who that person is. Like, what does that person look like? What do they do? How do they think? It's the identity that you have for yourself right now versus the identity that you want. So for me, that feeds into how I make decisions. So if I'm faced with a decision, I'm like, the question is this in line with my goals or the person that I want to become? Yes or no? If it's yes, cool. If it's no, then the second question is, okay, is it worth it in this instance? Sometimes the answer is yes, cool. Just accept that, accept your choice in that. If no, then not to do it. So I think identity is a big piece in it, because if I think back to myself, who I was then, like before I started training versus who I am now, is two completely different people, two completely different identities. The other side of it is, we don't say the C word anymore. We don't say community. I mean, I don't know how many times you have asked, what does WeHackHealth mean to you? And the answer has been the community. But as you have delved further into working with other fitness professionals, every motherfucker says community. It's about the community. So everybody has a community. And I don't think that is the differentiator for WeHackHealth. I think WeHackHealth becomes a part of their identity. They want to go to the events. They want to share the hashtag on socials, have it in their bio. They want to put it in, their intro if they're presenting at insert whatever conference. They want to wear the merch, the swag. There's fucking 15 WeHackHealth tattoos. That's not just a community. That's a identity. Like it becomes a part of you. And I think that's tied then again back to the mission overall. Like, these people are a part of this. They identify as being a part of this, as a movement for the greater good, for the quality and the standards of health within tech and cybersecurity.
Okay.
Belonging is being a part of that. Like, it's feeling like you belong somewhere. So if I think again back to multiple conversations with clients, that they don't necessarily think that the environment that they're in, whether that's, friends and family, work, or whatever it might be, is conducive to the goals that they have, and they feel a little bit lost within that. It's like, I want more for myself, but the people around me don't really want more. Like, I don't really know how to do this, but finding a space that a space that, I'm not going to say the L word, a space that they have other people who are on a similar journey, like other people who want more, who don't accept things for how they are, other people that want to be better, but then even more specifically, other people that work in a similar industry from then, they can really belong to that. So that's where the belonging comes in. And the control aspect is to just fucking show people that they're in control, because I think that a lot of people just are the passenger in their life. They do things because that's the next thing to do, and that's what other people do. And it's the social norms of get the degree, get the fucking wife, the house, climb the fucking corporate ladder, whatever it might be. They just sort of go through it. And then even with the health side and the choices, again, the general consensus is with the industry is, like the conferences, they go and they get fucked up and it's just like absolute chaos, or, there's almost gold stars awarded for staying up late and, hacking the fucking thing or whatever it might be. It sort of rewards the negative behaviors, and they just accept that, again, that's part of their identity because they are a hacker. They belong in that world, and they don't really have the control over that because everybody else is doing it. And it's just showing that actually, you're actually in control of all of these things, and you can make better decisions, and you just don't have to accept things for how they are if you want something that is a better version of you.
My background is being graphic design. So I spent a long time working in branding and advertising, and it was a very similar environment created there. There was like the hustle culture, hey, I work the late nights, we work all hours in the morning. Let's knuckle down and get this sort of done. And I ran this department that had a largest department. There was a guy in it who we were given flexi time, and it was great because you come in at different hours and you could sort of flex what you were doing. But I just found myself just working more. I liked, I could come in at 10 and I could leave at 7, but I would work till 8. And I would just constantly work more. I mean, I ran a department to a large extent, so that's why. But this one guy, he just used to use the system perfectly. And he would like come in at 7 a.m. and leave at 3 p.m. and like he would be gone. He would never stay. And it used to drive me mental because I was in my early 20s trying to climb that ladder of what I wanted to do, thinking that success was doing all this sort of stuff. And I mean, there is a large amount of that you are working harder. But only now as I get older and I realize that that's because his goals and values, while he liked what he did, his goals and values had other places to be as well. So he had that whole system in control. Drove me mad, but every day he left at 3 o'clock. Like
it drove you mad because that was your expectation. Because you did it, you expected other people to do it. And that's something that I have learned many times over, that expectations in general, like I just try and remove them altogether, because that's how you're going to fuck yourself up in some way or set yourself up for failure. But putting your expectations on other people, like, number one, he didn't fucking know that those were your expectations. Maybe he didn't even fucking know that you were pissed off about it. But you're like fucking raging, it's ruined your day, and he's off home fucking having a beer, doing whatever the fuck he wants. So it's like you putting your other, or I guess attaching a should to it, like because you're doing it, he should be doing it too. Whereas he's fucking live his life and go fuck.
Yeah. And it's only as I've got older and I've started to realize that there's elements of, understanding you can do stuff differently. And I think like I often say this to people now where I'm like, that's just the way we've been conditioned to do something or think about it. We have the power to just go, I'm just going to look at one of the earliest things I'd heard about this that really started my brain working like that was I read a quote that said, imagine if we, and you're going to massively disagree with this, but imagine if we just all agreed that unironed t-shirts were okay, how much easier life would be.
I don't iron my t-shirts.
No, but you are a very neat person. I mean, like my standard of unironed is yours is out of the tumble dryer, hung up on a hanger. Mine is fucking crinkled to fuck in the bottom of a drawer somewhere. And I pull out, my wife's like, you can't wear that, that's crinkled. I was like, it's fine. I don't want to, because I just decided maybe 10 years ago, I'm going to spend no more time ironing my t-shirts. Unless it's like a very smart reason, a very rare occasion. But generally, I was like, I guess the concept of that was just, if we all just reshift what we accept as norm and find out where we're wasting time, like you can reset your brain to look at these situations in a totally different way. So that's why I'm always wearing crinkled t-shirts.
Okay.
In case you're ever looking going, that dude doesn't own an iron.
I don't own an iron. I don't own a washing machine or a tumble dryer either. Just because it's always been that way doesn't mean it always has to be that way.
Yeah.
Like we just accept a lot of things because that's what we've always known. That's what the people around us doing or whatever. It's giving you back control of like, oh, you mean I can decide not to do that thing? What?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have to do it. Exactly. Well, so how does this version deliver transformation differently? This
version is focused on like lifestyle and identity transformation. It's not like the physical transformation. And not that I don't want to showcase that side or talk about that side, because there are people who are, making incredible physical transformations, but it's like there's a lot more depth and like long-term effects on transforming your life and you as a person. So it's not just okay, I lost 50 pounds, like yes, huge achievement, but also like, how did that improve the quality of your life? Like, how has that allowed you to show up differently in whatever other roles that you have in your life? It's understanding that the initial commitment is to yourself and, whatever time frame, a year, 2 years or whatever, working directly with me. But understanding that commitment is a lifelong commitment of being better, and understanding that you can look at your lifestyle and think, okay, right, well, these are the things that are serving me and these are the things that aren't. How do we do more of that one and less of that one? And how can we build out something that we actually enjoy doing, that we feel like we can do for as long as we want to do it for? Okay.
And have you noticed that that's changed the way the clients are interacting with you? Like if you look at like their culture, accountability, and like the depth in what they're doing, have you noticed how that's changed?
I think it's an evolution. Do you know what I mean? Nobody comes to me and thinks, I really want a mindset transformation or I really want a lifestyle transformation. They have an initial goal, but what happens is they reach that goal and then it's potentially something that they actually they've tried for many, many years, or they never actually really thought that they could do. And it opens up a new world of possibility of like, oh, well, if I can do that, I can do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
So it gives them that scope. And I think one of the biggest struggles actually within that is they get to a certain point, they're like, I'm at the stage now where I've achieved the things I initially set out to achieve. And there are so many other options open to me that I never even knew existed. I don't know what I want to do. So then we have to go, okay, well, let's fucking unfuck that situation. So there's a lot more depth of conversation that goes into that, because you're not just thinking, I'll come to you because I want to insert whatever goal, like fat loss goal or whatever. Like they achieve that and they realize, oh, there's so many other things that I can do. And it's like, okay, well, what do you want to do? Again, giving them control, not just like they come to me and like, what's my next goal? I'm like, I don't give a fuck what your next goal is. It doesn't matter to me. It needs to come from you so that it's attached to you. You have the control over it. So it's an evolving thing.
Which is where the recalibration calls actually come into play in a whole other level.
Yeah.
So it's not just looking back at what was your original goal, let's stick to that, but it's maybe how have you evolved as a person. So maybe you have achieved those. And by doing these regular calls every 12 weeks, that you are able to sit down and go, actually, I've achieved that, but here's where I want to go now. Yeah. Or to discover that. How do the coaching calls and structure now reflect the mission?
The calls and structure as they stand, there is a Monday call, which is just a bit of a group check-in. What's going on? How are you getting on? What have you struggled with this? How was last week? What's going on this week? What do you need from us? For the majority of the time. Sometimes I'll have some thought that I've had and want to sort of share it as a group discussion, or maybe I've seen a recurring pattern in some people's check-ins or across the board that is worth a conversation. Because if I see 5 people that are struggling with the same sort of thing over a period of time, if I sit down with 30 of them on a Monday and go, okay, right, I've seen this, how do you solve this problem? And everybody's able to give their input. It means that they're not just coming to me for my knowledge. It's the knowledge of the people on the ground doing the stuff that share how they specifically came over it, or they overcame it. The Thursday calls are a little bit more structured around education. So they're the operators calls where we bring in, Sean does one once a month, Lorena does one once a month, and that sort of ties into the human aspect of the whole human aspect of like, okay, right, something a little bit more specific around mental resilience or mobility or whatever it might be. Sometimes I'll bring other people in. I'll maybe get you to do a call. If you want to do one today, let me know. Bring other experts in their fields, like bring Matt in to talk about the last call that he did was the digital and biological environment and working on that. So like me using the people that I have around me, bringing Helmy down here, like using the people around me to bring in other areas of expertise. I've introduced, which I hope will be a regular thing. At the minute, it is a regular thing, a Friday, just like drop in round table call. And essentially what it is a chance for me to get feedback on the stuff that we are doing, what's good, what's not good. So like internally, the things that they like or don't like, or, content ideas for us, like how can we deliver more value to the rest of the community. And that for me is the biggest one that's in line with the mission, because if it's about the community and it's built by the community, it means we can be a lot more specific in the stuff that we're delivering rather than just, we think this is a cool idea. So actually taking feedback from them and then creating the thing based on that. So evolving and allowing them to have the voice to feel like they're actually part of the change as well. So yes, okay, as it stands, this is what WeHackHealth looks like, but what do you see for the future? How can we get more exposure, give more information out? How can we get involved in conferences? Like what does all that look like, or what would work for you, or what would be seen to be beneficial to the wider community and not just internally for the people that I work with directly?
Okay. Someone's signing up being told they have to do a call every week. This is a rogue question which I've just been thinking about. But they work full time. How do they structure that call into their day?
I will always say that the calls are not a mandatory part of the process.
Okay.
And I will always caveat by saying, I do find though that the people who attend the calls and show up in the Discord or whatever get a better experience. Not necessarily that they get a better result, but they get a better experience of feeling like they're a part of the thing. How I would approach it is, if they have to have conversations with the place that they work to see if that's something that they can free up and block out and just put it down as personal development, because truly that's what it is, which most businesses and like managers or whatever are open to. If not, they're recorded. So we'll put the recording in the chat after and they can catch up.
Okay. I mean, there's an element of that from the WeHackHealth perspective. We'd like to work with businesses to improve that.
Yeah.
To bring that in, because it's given the nature of what these people do, it's just suddenly dawned on me that I was thinking about this. I think actually you'd asked me to jump on a call. And
I got other shit to do.
I've got stuff to do. I can't be
I don't
sitting
like
here
video calls.
chatting. I mean, I hate video calls on a good day, yeah. But yeah, I think there's got to be people coming into it sitting thinking, well, I can't sit at 10 o'clock on a Thursday and have a video call with a bunch of people chatting about my gym and my mindset. I got stuff to be doing. But I mean, can people sit from a passive point of view and just sort of carry on working and have the call in the background, or is that?
Yeah. I mean, there are people that they'll drop in the chat and be like, "Look, I'm in the middle of something here. I'm just listening in, so I'll not ask them a question or whatever." So there are ways that you can do it, but I think just having the knowledge, and this doesn't just feed into the calls. It's the people who they feel like they need to be somewhere at a specific time where they can't take the time out of work or whatever, or even maybe just family life in general. It's like, but have you actually had that conversation?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, is that just your thought on that person's expectation of you? Whereas if you come to them and be like, look, manager, I'm doing this thing. I want to be a better version of myself. I want to get fitter, get healthier, so that I can focus better and have more energy whenever I come to work. Can I take this time out, whether it's at lunchtime or in the morning, come in a little bit later, or shift some calls around? Like, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say yes. I mean, easy for me to say, but like, yeah, I get it, because you want to be better. Like, there's a reason that you are doing it. And I find that the majority of people, whenever they actually have that conversation with the place that they work or with the people around them, they're generally quite open to it. Some people aren't, and that's okay.
Okay, cool.
Just find somewhere else to work.
Yeah. Get a new job, guys. How do you see the operator identity fitting into your bigger movement? I mean, we've used that a little bit in the podcast. We've started to throw the phrase "the operator" in.
We're toying between, or switching between operator and cyber athlete.
Yeah. Have we decided which one we're doing at this point?
I think both. I like both.
I like both as well. I mean, I think as a collective, they're cyber athletes, but as individuals, they're operators.
Yeah. So how do I see it fit into the
Bigger picture?
I think the operator identity allows you to define how an operator lives.
Okay.
So even the next video that we're going to record, we talk about identity and we talk about the operator. And one of the exercises within that is to list out, like, I am a person who, so say for example, when work is stressful, I am a person who, just gets on with it, knuckles down, eats a bag of Doritos, avoids it, whatever it is. List those down and then label them as operator or chaos crew, and look at, is this how an operator would work or make decisions or whatever it is, or am I just living in fucking chaos? So it then gives you a framework to look at, okay, if I want to become this person, the operator, what does that actually look like? And it makes it more tangible, because again, if we go right back to why are you doing this? And the answer is, I want to be a better version of me. What the fuck does that mean? Yeah. So I mean, better what? Like, what is the tangible? Like, I think that again, something I wrote down was, from my experience, the people I work with, they're quite like logical, and if they're data driven and they want a tangible result, like if forgive my ignorance in the words that I'm about to say, if I'm trying to hack something, the tangible result is I hacked it.
Yeah.
Whereas if I just say I just want to hack it a little bit, or I just want to surely there's
it's true.
There needs to be a tangible thing that you're working towards. Yeah. So the operator allows you to define what that is, and it's not going to be the same for everybody. It's more just a case of like, okay, right, I'm building. Say this is me, Ben version 1, and I live in chaos. Ben 2.0 is an operator, and this is how he operates.
Okay. What is the hardest part about evolving something that's already working?
It's the bit that I really love. Like, it's how do I take this thing and make it better? Like, it's a progress thing. Do you know what I mean? It's like, if we think about training, if I have a training plan that's already working and I'm like, I look okay, but I can either accept that and we just run with that forever, or it's a refinement thing. It's like, how can I make this, like, what can I do to tweak it? Like, how can I make this experience better? How can I make the calls better? How can I make the events better? How can I make the content better? Like, it's my favorite bit. I think about this year specifically, like I have probably spent more time this year, probably in the past 6 months, working on all of this stuff than I have ever. Which, if it's been a collective like improvement since I started coaching, is 10 years of work and improvement. So you would imagine it's already at a pretty good spot to then try and make that better. But it's the bit that I love. It's like, okay, right, how do I make this thing that's like 90% good, 95% good, or 100% good? Like what areas can I do or change that people go, fucking hell, like I didn't even realize that, wasn't as good as it could have been, but now it's fucking class. Like that's the bit that I love. It's the details. It's the just going into the thing and spending the time, taking the whole thing apart and putting it back together again.
And I think that for me is the key to the way in which you coach people as well, because you've already tapped into that idea of people in their personal development. Their benchmark at the beginning changes, and then a year down the line, they're like, you've opened up all these avenues for me to do these other things, or push myself in a way that I didn't think was possible. And that's the same, even in the time that we've worked together, the development of what's happened in the things that we do to the way in which you coach stuff. That constant progress is the bit that shows that you do care, that you're like, I want to improve this. So we might be at 95% complete now, but in 6 months down the line, we could be back to 92%. It'd be like, because our percentages have fucking scaled differently. And now we're like, actually, that may have been a 95 then, but that's only a 92 now. So what can we do to bump that thing back up? So we're just never going to get to 100%. And that's the key, I think.
If you had, this is irrelevant, but relevant. If it's, so like, if you had have asked me a few years ago, and it has been asked because of the conversations and the conversation cards or whatever, like, what's your biggest fear? It was always that I never reach my full potential.
Okay.
But I think my fear is now that I do reach, I'm afraid that I do reach my full potential. Maybe not just my full potential, but the full potential of this.
Like your real life version of when ChatGPT says to you, complete.
Yeah. So like complete, because then like there is no like what's next. Like how do I make it better? Do you know what I mean? It's literally the opposite of what I would have used to say.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, your goal is progress.
The goal is always progress.
Yeah. I think
that's why I fell in love with training in the gym, because I could see progress, and I was like, it's not about lifting weights, or it's not about food. It's about progress. And my biggest driver in everything I do is progress. Like, how do I progress in this? How do I make this better? Or whatever metric you're using. Yeah. It's progress. So like this time next year, fuck knows, endgame number, whatever.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll be better again, but it will never be complete.
Funny, I was showing my wife some videos yesterday of me in the gym, and I was doing a leg extension, and she was like, "Why? What are you thinking about right there?" Like, as my face is like, and I was like, "What am I?" And so with each rep, I'm just thinking, "Fuck that." And she's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "I'm just thinking of the pain." She's like, "But why are you doing it if there's pain?" I was like, "This is great." She's like, "Why?" I was like, "Because my legs hurt." And she's like, "But why do you give a fuck?"
Doesn't sound good at all.
Yeah, what do you give a fuck about this? I was like, "Because I know that tomorrow they will hurt more tomorrow." Yeah. But I'm like, they will be stronger. She's like, "And then what?" I was like, "And then we'll put more weight on." She's like, "Why?" I was like, "And then we'll make them." She's like, "To what point?" I was like, "I don't fucking know, but that's the bit I'm interested in." It's like, I've never like been a physique sort of a person, but I like the feeling of feeling stronger. I like and I just look at the whole thing as a journey. I think when you start to approach it like a journey, whether it's business or whether it's life or whether it's your fitness, it is understanding and getting into the details. And that's why I think like the new check-in sheet's so interesting, because it dives you into the details. So when you approach the things in the gym as it's the simplest form, it's when you dive into the detail and the mechanics of a movement, you start to enjoy what you're doing more. I mean, you took me through understanding scapular muscles. Don't think I'd ever fucking used them proactively in my entire life until you were like, why are you pulling with your fingers and wrists on this like lateral pull down? You need to use it. And then you showed me muscles. I was like, I never considered that. That's now put me into a position where like I enjoy understanding the mechanics of how the body works. I see from the people that you coach, the people that are actually interested in every aspect and every detail of the things that you're doing, they are the ones that benefit the most. Like, you can see it in the discussions they have, in the collaborative way they work with each other. Even if we look at like Andreas, and Kev Cody and the conversations they had around, Andreas didn't need to interject when Kev Cody's health, but he saw something, two of them sort of fixed something quite.
Basically what you're saying is Andreas saved Kev Cody's life, and without WeHackHealth and Andreas.
Yeah. He's effectively the lifesaver.
But
He's
I
the Mitch
noticed
Buchanan of WeHackHealth.
I noticed this in like when we do goal setting tasks. So the first question in the recalibration call is what's your why? So revisit that. The second question is what's 12-month success look like? And you can see the shift in it being outcome based versus process based. So like some people will be like, I will be this weight, or I'll be able to lift this much amount of weight, or I'll run this fast, or whatever the thing is. And some people are like, I want to be more consistent. I want to, do X percentage of everything that you asked me to do. And I think whenever you can have the priority be the process, there's a lot more longevity in the thing that you're doing. Because again, if I use myself as an example, my goal when I started training was I always wanted to be 100 kilos. And I got there after fucking 8 years and I was like,
Complete.
now what? Like nothing happened. There was no like celebration, but it was about the behaviors that I had formed, the identity, the things that I do the day to day. My entire life was different because of the process, not because of the goal or ticking the box at the end.
That's such a mad goal as well. Going from what weight to what weight? From what to 100?
I think it was 69 kilos whenever
what
I
height are
started.
you?
6'2".
That's mad. I mean, I can hit 100 kilos pretty easily. Not in the same way that you did.
No. But like
Donuts and beer, by the way, was the
looking back, it was a stupid goal, but it gave me direction. Do you know what I mean? It gave me something to work towards. And it wasn't something that I could do in 8 weeks. Like it literally took me 8 years. It was a lot.
But you think like you needed to be a little bit fickle in life, I think, to be able to do things like that. Because I think one of the keys to that is, like we said earlier, it's okay to do something different. It's okay to move the goal.
Yeah.
Like it's all right for that to be the goal to a point. And then it's like, well, this is my goal now. And like,
but I also now like know that I don't actually like being 100 kilos.
Yeah.
So getting there to realize that's maybe not the thing. Like if you look at some of those photos, I don't know if you looked at them recently from Ohio. It was 104. I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh, fuck, yes. Tank.
Just like
absolute
but in my
unit.
face and all.
Yeah.
I'm like
a bear.
yeah. But then that feeds back to last year not really doing the thing and going a little bit off course and like not really holding myself accountable or not actually really like reflecting on, it wasn't that bad, but it could have been much better.
Yeah.
And then going, fuck this. And getting down to, I think I got down to maybe 88 kilos. And just feeling better. Like feeling, this is going to sound ridiculous, lighter. I obviously was lighter, but like feeling lighter on my feet and like run up the stairs. And I know all these things sound ridiculous, but like just, you don't have that comparison whenever you're just in it.
Yeah.
So understanding that, you know what, like, okay, yeah, tick that box, but that's not, would I push to it again? Maybe, but just not to live there. Whereas now I'm probably about 92 kilos at the minute.
Okay.
And I feel like this is like I could live at this weight if I was to accept that this was the weight that I would be, and I was to take out the fact that my obsession with making progress, like I would be quite happy because I'm quite happy with the strength that I have, the body composition that I have. Like day to day, I feel good. So 100 kilos give me the direction, but it also took me to get there to realize that that's not necessarily what I want. It's not about the weight. It's about what it actually took to get there. Do you know what I mean? If I was to say to my younger self, right, this is a goal. It's going to take you 8 years to do it. That's where you get fucked. Do you know what I mean? So it gave me the insight that like, if you want to do something that, like looking at a longer time horizon is okay. And this is the difficulty, but also not something I will ever change. Like the fitness industry on the whole is trying to sell you the quickest fix on how you can do the thing as quickly as possible. Whereas I'm the opposite. I'm like, look, this is, we'll do a year, maybe more, usually more. But this is for a forever thing that you're doing. Like it's not, it's not a get from A to B, and it's the lessons that it teaches you about yourself and the person you become along the way.
That's what I quite like about Sean's journey. Is like when I saw Sean this year at the Belfast event, I was like, fucking absolute tank. Like, and I look at him last year when I met him for the first time, and I compare him back to like last year's. I would have said he was not a cardio athlete, but he was more of a sport athlete. Mm-hmm. He's a sport guy for me. Plays sport, runs, rides bikes. That's what he looked like. And then when he walked in this time, I was like, that dude lifts. like totally different guy. But also he was happy to do that. Yeah, I'll put the weight on. I'll achieve this goal.
For
I'll
the
take
goal.
that for the goal. Like the progress.
Tick the box. Now run a
Committed.
different goal.
Yeah.
But he has said recently, he was like, I know I said I didn't want to do the 1250 club, but maybe 2027. And even that,
When he
he's like,
said that though, I
but
was
even
like,
that. So right. So for context, for anybody who hasn't
fickle.
watched Sean's podcast, so Belfast event 2024, we did the 750 club. Rogue failed us on the squat. From that day, the mission was £1,000 club in Belfast 2025. Ticked that box. Became obsessed with doing that thing, hitting those numbers like every day, lived and breathed it. Tick the box. But like straight away, I was like, right, physique based goal. Like I want to be lean and feel good again and not just feel strong. Maintain strength, but not just feel strong. And specifically said, he's like, you know what, like I'm 47 now, 48 now. 1250 just isn't in the cards for me. And like not even a month later, he's like, maybe 2027 we could do 1250. So think like the 1 year commitment between September 2024 and 2025, having already set the next goal that we're working on now, but already thinking about the next year. Like that is an athlete's mindset. Do you know what I mean? It's like I've been able to think like block things off as this is the focus for this thing and these are the things that I need to do to get that. But also knowing that like what's next.
Yeah. What are you most proud of inside Endgame 3.0 so far?
I don't necessarily know that proud's the word, but I think the thing that I'm most excited for, that you potentially are least excited for, is the continued evolution of the university element. Like I think that that's going to be a huge resource. If we think what we were able to get done in a relatively short space of time and the amount of content and value and education we were able to give, if we not continue to work at that rate, but if that's something that we continue to build out, again, looking at a longer time horizon, in 5 years' time, what could that look like as a resource? Mm-hmm. Which the reason I'm excited about it is because it isn't necessarily just about working with people directly, but if we make that a resource that's open up to the wider community, that's how we make the change, by educating them on how they can do all the things that we do internally and giving them the stuff. So like that will be a huge database resource, whatever way you want to call it, that we can build over the next however fucking long that we want to do. Tell me again. From my observation of the current state of affairs of health culture in tech and cybersecurity, it's neglect. It's prioritizing workload and career and literally everything else over your needs as a human. And how I see it and have seen it for the past 5 years is, you know, all of this time, decades spent progressing in terms of the career and sort of fighting that fight in terms of protecting the internet, to put it like at a baseline. I get, but I see people come out the other side of that after 20 or 30 years or whatever it might be, and then realize that they're totally fucked. And was it worth it in terms of, you know, they wanted to build a good life for themselves, but what does the quality of that life and what does the length of that life now look like from the sacrifices that they made? Changing that is to show a way that both can be done. That, you know, okay, right, if we actually take some time out and look after ourselves and focus on our own well-being, whatever way you want to phrase it, you actually can do more and show up better in all of those roles and areas. So changing that is just changing the thinking around, it doesn't have to just be all of one and none of the other. You can find a way that you can fit it into what you already do, and we can tailor it in a way that suits your life and your needs and your stressors. It's a high-paced, high-stress, high-demanding job that requires a lot from people. And I believe if they spend more time focusing on themselves, they can give a lot more back to it.
How do you see the WeHackHealth movement evolving over the next few years?
My observation is that there is no reason that what I want this to become can't be the reality. like what can be achieved. I don't think there's a limit on that, and that is an exciting but also terrifying thing. And as I said, I have spent a lot of this year like trying to work that out, like what is the mission and how do we actually execute on it? Because if I continue to do it the way that I am, it's going to take hundreds of years. So how do we do it at scale? Like how do we get in front of more people? Because I was reminded the first time I went to DEF CON that like, yes, okay, I live and breathe WeHackHealth and I think about it all day and it like consumes me and it is a part of like, I'm not going to say a part of me, it is like who I am. Even looking at like impact of, downloads on the podcast or, followers on social media or whatever, seeing those numbers is like good. They're making progress, but then seeing tens of thousands of people going, oh fuck, this is a much bigger job than I initially anticipated. So for me, the thing that I want is it to become recognized within the industry, at conferences, in companies, like recognized as the thing that is going to change the narrative or set the standard of health within tech and cybersecurity.
Say that you don't mean you mean WeHackHealth.
Yeah, WeHackHealth, yeah. And like it's not about me. It's not about me, and it's not something that I can do by myself because it is a monumental task. So it's about building out the team, building out, people in different places that they can host their own. Like if I think about it in this way, if we think about the big conferences, the main conferences as the events that WeHackHealth run directly, is there a B-sides version of WeHackHealth? So the B-sides conferences, and again, forgive my ignorance if I fucked this up, but B-sides were founded in a attempt to allow other people to showcase and share ideas and presentations and thoughts that necessarily they didn't have room for or space for at the bigger conferences. They're community led. So I don't see why we can't do the same thing. So being able to, I guess, see it evolve and grow beyond just the stuff that I'm doing directly, and not even just the stuff that I'm doing directly, like even the stuff that the people that I'm directly working with or that are part of the team, like it become its own thing, its own standard. It becomes something that people start to embody, like values that they uphold, standards that they uphold within themselves, whether I work directly with them or not.
You often talk about the standard. What does that mean to you?
The standard is, to me, what I will and will not accept. So, what is the baseline for that? Accepting that, I'm not in any way perfect, and I'm not accepting anybody to be perfect, but there is a certain standard to withhold. It's these are the things that you said you were going to do, and the standard is doing those things because you said you would do them. It's whether you want to call it values or set of rules or guidelines or non-negotiables or whatever it might be. It's things that we set as individuals, as coaches, we set as WeHackHealth, but then on the other side, you will set for yourself individually, understanding your circumstances. So like what are the things that you will accept and what are the things that you won't accept? What are the things that you are willing to sacrifice and what are the things you're not willing to sacrifice, and how does that fit into the bigger picture? And holding yourself to those, because again, writing them down, cool, spend half an hour making a fucking spreadsheet or whatever way you want to have it is cool, but like it's the continued execution, it's the continued reminder, it's the continued like doing the thing and building the stack of evidence that you are a person who does the thing.
So if you had to define, like, who does WeHackHealth want as a member? Somebody sitting out there and you're like, who do we want as part of WeHackHealth?
We want people who want more from themselves, who want to be a part of this movement because it will benefit them, but it will also benefit the greater good, people who are fed up and frustrated with their own bullshit, people who are, they just have a want for more in themselves, but they don't necessarily know what that looks like or how they get it. But also they're willing to give back, whether that is internally within the community or, you know, whenever they share their journey or their knowledge along the way, to have the understanding that by them doing the thing, there is the potential that, you know, they will inspire somebody else to do the thing. Like it's the ripple effect. Like the more people that we have that are showing up and not accepting things for how they are and wanting better and more from themselves, it will eventually, by osmosis, rub off on the people around them.
What is the first sign that they are ready for Endgame?
I think it's when you start to recognize things in yourself, and like when you start to recognize them, because there is a starting to recognize them and then ignoring it for many, many years, and the situation just gets infinitely worse. But if it is a case of, you know, you have, for want of a better direction, like your clothes start to fit different, or you start to struggle to keep up with your kids, or get up the stairs, you're out of breath getting up the flight of stairs, or on a work side, like you're just not as focused as you used to be, or you don't have as much energy as you used to, or you struggle to get out of bed, like whatever the initial negative signs that you could potentially be going in the wrong direction are, deal with them then, because they will just continue to get worse.
So what would you say to the person who's tried everything but still feels stuck?
The tried everything is I guess a common theme that I hear whenever I'm speaking to people initially. And there's two sides that I'll look at it from. Number one, tried everything, like, I mean, probably not entirely true. Number two, the time that you spent doing the thing, I think is often unrealistic. It's not necessarily that all the other things are wrong. It's just you didn't spend enough time doing them. So if you didn't get that immediate result, or you did a couple of months and, you know, it didn't work, or it stopped working, it didn't take you a couple of months to get to the situation that you are now. So it's a commitment to a longer time horizon on that. The big piece in that is back to identity. And, you know, I've went through this round and round in circles as to what this actually means, but it's trying to, the person that you are, or the person that got you to the situation you're in right now, isn't the person that will get you out of the situation. So it's like doing the same, trying to do something different, but being the same person is the problem. So you need a different thought process, you need a different approach, you need a different set of values or standards, and approach it as a different person versus just being the same person who's trying to do something different.
So if somebody wants to sign up for Endgame, be a part of the collective, also a C word.
Yes. Yeah.
What's their first step?
Go to WeHackHealth.com and click Endgame. Book a call. There is no obligation to sign up on the call. The way that we're framing the calls is a bit of a system audit. So we will go through some questions. I will make a very beautiful slideshow and I'll draw all over it, and you'll be given that as, you know, these are your next steps, whether you decide to come on board or not. So book the call. We'll have a conversation, see what's going on, give you some direction. If you want to be a part of the team, cool. If you don't, and you want to just go and unfuck the things yourself, also cool.
And if you just want to sit as maybe a bystander or a bit of a neutral position for the time being, you can also join the Discord at discord.gg/WeHackHealth.
Yep. It took us 3 days to record this podcast, so please share it with someone.
I was 19 when we started.